Hello, and welcome to day 377. Today we're going to talk about a topic that's really important to me right now. It's really on my mind. It's when do I stop titrating up? When do I know that I've hit my sweet spot? And I get people all the time. That is what motivated me to partly want to shoot this video. One, because I'm super fascinated in it, and two, because I'm getting the question all the time. Here's what's going on with me. Should I titrate up? So let's talk about it today. Okay, for diabetics, this is going to be a little bit different, but I'm going to talk about that. But first of all, the thing to really ask yourself is, how long have you been at the current dose? Has it had time to start working? You might hear from people like me. I felt like it started working the first night I took it. That was my initial 2.5 dose. As I have titrated up, I have noticed that it hasn't been just all of a sudden I'm a completely different person. And I read from a lot of people who are saying, it took a while for it to build up in my system. I want you to give that dose a chance. If you haven't felt anything for 1 week or 2 weeks, I never let 1 or 2 weeks be the determining factor. I really like to sit in something to give it a lot of thought, just to double check that my body and all my theories are correct before I make the next step. I think that's what we're all doing. Our health is super important to us. We're on this really exciting journey. How fortunate are we to have tirzepatide and semaglutide, and we want to make the right decisions. And so if you have been on this dose for less than a month, talk to your doctor, but I would recommend just waiting, because some people said, I really didn't start feeling anything until I had given it a month to build up in my system. Now, if it's been 2 months and you're at the same exact spot, you're like, I don't think this is working, I don't think this is right for me, then I would definitely talk to your doctor and start thinking about, maybe this is not your sweet spot. My second piece of advice would be to check out your scale. For me, that was really helpful. Now, when it comes to John, he's always been one to want to stand on the scale all the time, and it didn't bother his head. For me, I wasn't so connected to my scale, but I definitely wanted to weigh in once or twice a week and just get an idea as I was losing weight, how is this going? Now, again, you are on your own journey. If you're losing a pound or 2 a month, you're still losing. So don't compare yourself to the person who's losing, 5 pounds a week and you're like, this is not working for me. Because I think that is one of the biggest determining factors for some people wanting to change their own journey. And then later on, they regret it because they weren't living their journey. They were comparing themselves to other people. So I cannot tell you how many times I have seen online somebody at a higher dose talking about a lesser dose that went better for them. And they're like, my sweet spot was, I would say 75% of the time, they say 5.0. Now, for you, it might be different. You might be higher and you might be thinking about 7.5 being the place where you were really at your optimal. Or maybe you're higher, you're at 12.5 or 15.0, and you're really thinking back to the days on 10.0. But I've seen it so many times that I think they just maybe, kind of like I definitely was at times, a little impatient. You want to see more movement on the scale, maybe a little bit antsy. Maybe you're seeing everybody else, just like their weight's plummeting, and you're like, okay, let's just keep going up. But just last night, somebody who was, after I'd already written this video, somebody who was on 12.5 was sharing, 5.0 was my sweet spot. That was my sweet spot. It's when I felt the best. The scale was moving. Side effects were mild. My appetite was at a good level. And so, I think sometimes our doctors just want to automatically titrate us up. But talk to your doctor. Think about how you're feeling. And this is the answer that I give everyone who asks me. I'm not really seeing what I want to see. Should I move on up? So I'm glad that I'm sharing this with you today, because I think it's something, whether you've started your journey or not, to just start thinking about, this is your journey. And as long as you're losing even a little bit every week or two, you're moving in the right direction. It is working. So don't try to win the race on getting to the goal weight first. If you're moving in the right direction, you are a success story. So when it's time for you to move up, really make a careful, pre-planned decision. You've really thought about it, and you can just feel confident that, if I had this to do over again, I really think I'm making the best choice for me right now. Okay, number 3, my top determining factor in my titration was my appetite suppression. I was thinking about it this week. If I had had really bad nausea or vomiting, that might be like the number one factor that I looked at when determining, like, can I move up? Should I stay here? It's kind of like, what can I handle? Same thing goes if I had had really bad headaches. I think that might be my determining factor. For me personally, it was, how full do I feel? How satiated am I? How is that food chatter? Because I have been on both sides of the spectrum, like purely awful, purely fantastic. And I wrote down the fantastic. Peaceful. You feel content with your food. I felt like I was really in control of my portions. Like everything was really going okay. And that's been the last 4 to 6 weeks. I am living in peace land. Okay, back in October, it was the complete opposite. I was battling hunger on an hourly basis. I was overeating. The food chatter and the nonstop just fixating on food, it's something that you can't put into words. And I think there's a lot of people listening to this who is like, don't even put it into words, Amy. I've been there. I get what you're saying. So for me, that was so rough. And I dealt with it for 9 weeks before I decided I'm moving up to 7.5. It's the right move for me. It has been the right move for me. It's about 6 weeks later. I have hit my goal weight and below. I feel very peaceful, and I look forward to coming to you soon, talking to you about how I am ready to titrate down and all the important reasons why. So for those with diabetes, they have a long list of determining factors that they work with their doctor and trying to figure out, is titrating up or down the right move for me and my health and my glucose levels and my A1C. So when it comes to those with diabetics, they are working so hard for their blood sugar level to be in a normal range. And so they are talking to their doctor, talking about what's right for them, talking about what is going to put them right there in the range that's going to give them the best health. And just recently, one of our YouTube friends, she was saying on her video that she was feeling a little bit hungry and she would have preferred to continue losing weight at a little bit of a faster rate, but she was not able to titrate up because her A1C level was so stabilized. It was at such a good place, and her doctor wanted it to stay right there. Not that there would be a chance of it moving down a little bit. And so for some of our diabetic friends, like that is the determining factor for them, which I find fascinating. So as we conclude this video today, I just want to encourage you to share your story. Share where you are and what you're doing and why. That's so helpful as we're all trying to kind of gain bits and pieces of information to really increase our knowledge and experience with this really important topic. Feel free to ask questions, talk to your doctor, and just ask them what the right thing for you is. What is their advice? No two people's journeys are the same. So you pre-plan, think about what's right for you, and you make the right decision for your body and for your journey. Okay, that's been our video for today. Thank you so much for joining, and have a great rest of your day.